Hey everyone, ready to unlock some serious creative potential?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So today we're taking a deep dive into artistic inspiration, and
Ooh, exciting.
it is. And,
Right.
we're basing this deep dive on a really insightful article from Irish Art Mart.
Okay.
It's like this online art marketplace.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? This isn't just for artists, like professional artists or anything.
Yeah.
This is for like anyone who just feels that like creative itch sometimes.
Oh, totally. Like we all have that creative spark inside us somewhere.
Exactly.
We just need to know how to kind of like find it and fan the flames. Right.
Totally. In this article, it gives us like a whole toolbox of ways to do
I
that.
like that. A toolbox.
We're going to talk about some pretty unexpected places we'll find inspiration.
Ooh, I love surprises.
Me too. So, are you ready to dive in?
Absolutely. Let's get inspired.
All right. So, the article kicks things off with something pretty fundamental, something that, we can all relate to.
Okay. Oh, of course. I mean, you can't really talk about inspiration without talking about nature, right?
Right. And the article emphasizes how nature has been like this wellspring of inspiration for artists for centuries.
Oh, absolutely. Like, think about Monet's Water Lily series, for example.
Oh, yeah.
He was obsessed with capturing how light played on water and reflected color
What?
at different times of the day.
Interesting.
And he turned nature into, it was a scientific study for him, almost as much as it was an artistic one.
That's such a cool way to look at it.
Right.
Yeah. It reminds me of how Van Gogh used all those bold colors, like almost unrealistic colors, in his landscapes
Yeah.
to like express the raw energy he felt from nature.
Exactly. It wasn't just about what he saw, it was how he felt it.
Yeah.
And that's something we can all try.
Okay.
So next time you're out in nature, don't just like glance around, really observe.
Right.
Like look at the way sunlight filters through leaves, the textures of bark, the patterns on a flower petal.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And even try to sketch them. Even if you're not a quote unquote artist, those quick sketches can really train your eye to see the world like an artist does.
You know what? I'm totally adding that to my to-do list.
Me too.
So speaking of training our eyes, the article also suggests taking a deep dive into art history
Oh, yes.
and checking out contemporary artists too.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why art museums and galleries exist, right?
Right.
It's not just about admiring those pretty pictures.
Yeah.
It's about understanding how different artists throughout time, how they solved creative problems. Like, take the Impressionist movement, for example. They really broke away from traditional realistic painting
Yeah.
to capture, like, a fleeting moment, a feeling of light and atmosphere.
I see.
It was a completely new way of thinking about art.
Yeah. Oh, it reminds me of this time when I was at this exhibit of abstract expressionist paintings.
Oh, cool.
And I was just blown away by the way they used color and movement.
Yeah.
It was like nothing I'd ever seen before.
It makes you want to experiment more, right?
Exactly. Be bolder with my choices,
Exactly. And that's really the point. It's not about copying what you see. It's allowing it to spark new ideas in your own work.
Right.
And by the way, the article actually links to the Irish Museum of Modern Art.
Okay.
It's a fantastic resource.
Really?
Yeah, it's for exploring both historical and contemporary art.
I'm adding that to my bookmarks right now.
Do it.
All right. So sometimes inspiration isn't found in a museum or a, vast landscape or anything.
Right.
The article also talks about finding it in the everyday,
Oh, yeah.
what they call everyday magic.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah, it's like we have to see the ordinary with fresh eyes.
Yes.
Like that coffee mug, with a quirky design, or the way light falls on a pile of laundry.
Yeah, I see that.
Even a crumpled piece of paper. It can all be inspiration.
Okay, I have an idea.
Okay.
Let's play a game. You ready?
I'm always up for a game.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And you can play along too, listener.
Yes, listener, join us.
Look around the space you're in right now.
Okay.
What seemingly mundane object could you turn into art?
Ooh, interesting.
Could that lampshade be a sculpture?
Ooh, maybe.
Could the pattern on your rug inspire a painting?
Possibilities.
I know. I get so excited thinking about it.
And don't forget your phone, right? Like,
Yeah.
use that camera.
Oh, right.
If something catches your eye, snap a picture.
Yeah.
It's like a visual note to spark your imagination later on.
Oh, smart. Like building our own little inspiration library.
Exactly.
Okay, and speaking of libraries, the article's a big fan of the sketchbook
Oh, the trusty sketchbook.
or journal.
Yes.
But they're not just talking about like drawing in them, are
Yeah, absolutely not. Like, it's a space to capture any creative spark,
they? Okay.
thoughts, emotions, interesting color combinations,
Oh, right.
song lyrics, even like a snippet of overheard conversation. Anything that resonates, write it down.
I see, yeah.
Because those random notes, who knows, they could become the seed of your next masterpiece.
Yeah, it's like a direct line to our creative subconscious or something.
Totally.
But sometimes, that subconscious needs a good shakeup.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
And the article talks about using personal emotions experiences as inspiration for art.
That's a powerful one.
Yeah. And this one really resonates with me because, well, there was a time when I was going through a really rough breakup.
Oh.
And I honestly thought, like, my creativity had dried up.
Oh, wow.
But then I started channeling all those emotions into my painting. And some of the most powerful pieces came from that time.
You turned a difficult experience into something meaningful.
Yeah.
Not just for yourself, but for anyone who sees your art and connects with it.
Yeah, it's like transforming pain into beauty.
But absolutely. Art can be a form of therapy. It helps us process emotions and find meaning in our experiences.
Exactly, yeah. And sometimes we need a little boost from the outside world.
Yes, definitely.
To get those creative juices flowing. And thank goodness, in today's digital age, there's this whole universe of inspiration online.
It's true. And the article specifically mentions platforms like Pinterest, Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Irish Art Mart.
Of course.
As being these treasure troves of creative ideas.
Oh, tell me about it. I can spend hours scrolling through art online. But, it's not just mindless scrolling.
No.
It's about seeking out artists and styles that resonate with me.
It's true. It's about curating your experience, right? But there's a downside too, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to get overwhelmed by the sheer volume of content out there.
Oh, totally.
And end up feeling inadequate instead of inspired.
Yeah.
So it's crucial to be mindful how you engage with those platforms.
Be intentional.
Yes.
About who you follow and what you're looking for.
You're in control of your creative journey.
Love that. Okay, so speaking of control, sometimes our creativity just needs a little nudge.
It does. In
the right direction. And that's where the article's suggestion of engaging with art communities comes in.
Oh, yes. Communities are so important.
I think so, too.
Whether online or offline, they're so valuable.
Yeah, and I think about, like, local art groups, workshops, online forums.
Yeah.
All those places where you can connect with other artists.
It's amazing how much we can learn from each other.
It really is. I mean, there's a unique energy that comes from being part of a community where everyone gets it.
Yes. Like they understand the joys and the challenges of the creative process.
Exactly. It's a safe space to share your work, get feedback, collaborate on projects.
And even constructive criticism, when it's given respectfully, can be so valuable for growth.
Totally. Some of my best ideas have come from brainstorming with other artists.
It's true.
It's like adding fuel to that creative fire.
It is.
And speaking of fueling that fire, sometimes we just need to shake things up a bit.
Oh, absolutely. Get out of that comfort zone.
Yes. Try something completely new.
And that's where experimenting with new techniques and mediums comes in.
I am all about stepping outside that comfort zone.
Me too.
What if you're a painter, but you've always secretly wanted to try sculpting?
Yes.
Or a photographer who's intrigued by digital art?
Do it. The article actually suggests picking up like a random art supply.
Oh, okay.
Something you've never used before, and just see what happens.
I love that. Just play.
Yes. Embrace the unknown. Allow yourself to play and experiment without judgment.
Because sometimes the most unexpected discoveries happen when we take risks.
All the time.
It's like giving your creativity permission to run wild.
Yeah.
But sometimes even our creativity needs a little structure, right?
It does. It does. A little bit of guidance.
And that's where the article recommends setting challenges and goals.
Oh, I love that.
Like those 30-day art challenges.
Yeah.
Where you commit to creating something every day.
It's a great way to develop consistency.
Totally.
Explore new ideas.
I did one a while back and it was amazing.
Yeah.
It really helped with my consistency.
That's awesome. And what's fascinating is those challenges, while they seem restrictive, they can actually unlock spontaneity.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Like when we give ourselves parameters, it's like creating a container for our creativity.
It's like a paradox then, isn't it?
Totally. Limitations can sometimes lead to greater freedom.
Interesting.
Right. It's like that saying, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
When we're faced with constraints, we have to get more resourceful.
Right.
And that's where the creativity really comes out.
But let's not forget that inspiration isn't always about like actively doing something, right?
Right. Sometimes it's about stepping back, quieting the noise,
Yes.
allowing ourselves to just be receptive.
Yes. And the article brings us back to that crucial element of mindfulness.
Yes. Mindfulness.
Remember how we talked about taking a few moments to breathe, connect with ourselves?
Yes.
That same principle applies to, like, cultivating inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
about creating space for those aha moments.
Yeah, those aha moments.
They can happen when you're taking a walk, listening to music, even doing the dishes.
Yeah, you're right.
Inspiration strikes when we least expect it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
But we have to be open to receiving it.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating a state of relaxed awareness
Yeah.
where we're not actively searching for inspiration, but we're not blocking it out either.
It's like setting up a welcome committee for creative ideas.
Exactly.
And sometimes those ideas come from the most unexpected sources.
That's what they do.
Remember the article talked about finding everyday magic in the mundane?
Yes.
Well, that same principle can apply to, like, finding inspiration in the most unlikely places.
Think about how artists throughout history have drawn inspiration from dreams, myths, literature,
Oh, wow.
even scientific discoveries.
It's about being curious about the world,
Yes.
allowing ourselves to be surprised.
And delighted
Yeah.
by the unexpected.
It's like having that childlike sense of wonder again, right?
Exactly.
And seeing the world through those fresh eyes.
I love that. And, speaking of fresh eyes, I think it's important to expose ourselves to different perspectives.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I know the article doesn't explicitly say this, but I think it's a really crucial point.
Yeah.
When we limit ourselves to just a narrow range of influences,
Mm-hmm.
our creativity can get kind of stagnant.
Well, that makes sense.
But when we actively seek out different art forms, cultures, ways of thinking,
Yeah.
it's like we open ourselves to this whole new world of inspiration.
It's like adding spices to a recipe.
Yes.
Right. It completely transforms the flavor.
Totally. Like fusion cuisine.
Yes.
It blends elements from different culinary traditions to create something new.
We could do that with art, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about embracing diversity, allowing those influences to cross-pollinate, inspire something truly original.
It all comes back to that core idea that inspiration is a journey, not a destination.
Exactly.
It's an ongoing process.
Yeah, of exploration, experimentation, self-discovery.
Exactly. And you know what? We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have, from observing nature like Monet to unearthing magic in the everyday.
From art history to expressing our deepest emotions, we've seen how inspiration can be found everywhere.
Literally everywhere.
And we're just getting started. We'll be back in a moment to continue our exploration and discover even more ways to unlock that creative potential.
Can't wait.
Welcome back. I don't know about you, but after that last segment, I am feeling so inspired.
Me too. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is. And we covered so much, from nature to museums to, like, I don't know, finding beauty in a pile of laundry.
Right. Who knew?
It's incredible how many ways there are to find inspiration,
And it's like a constant thing. It's not just a one-time event.
Right.
It's a process, something we can nurture and grow over time.
Yeah. And speaking of nurturing, let's go back to that mindfulness exercise we did.
Yeah. That was nice.
Remember how just taking a few moments to breathe, to just be present, can really, like, clear out all that mental clutter
Yeah.
and make space for new ideas.
Totally. It's like hitting the reset button on your brain.
Yes. All that stress just melted away.
And that's why the article emphasizes mindfulness as this key ingredient in the creative process, because when we're constantly bombarded with distractions, it's hard to connect with that inner creativity.
Yeah, it's like trying to hear a whisper in a hurricane.
Exactly.
Right.
But when we take the time to quiet our minds, those whispers become so much clearer.
They do.
Yeah.
And sometimes, those whispers lead us down these unexpected paths, which reminds me of what the article said about trying new things.
Oh, yes.
Because it can be so easy to get stuck in a rut doing the same thing over and over.
It's true. We find a style or a medium that we like and it works for us, and we cling to it like it's like a life raft.
Yeah.
But what if we jumped ship and swam in uncharted waters?
Ooh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, think about Picasso, right?
Okay.
He went through all these distinct periods,
Right.
constantly experimenting with new styles and techniques.
Yeah.
From his blue period to Cubism, he completely reinvented himself.
It's like he was on a constant quest for creative evolution or something.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's something we can all do,
Yeah.
no matter what level we're at.
Yeah, I like that. So maybe you're a watercolor artist who's always been curious about sculpting.
Yeah.
Or a photographer who wants to explore digital art.
Mm-hmm.
What's stopping you?
Well, maybe fear, right? I mean, it's natural to be hesitant to step outside that comfort zone.
Right.
But the article reminds us that growth often happens on the other side of fear.
Okay.
It's in those moments of what if. That's when we discover new possibilities and unlock those hidden talents.
And those discoveries don't always have to be huge, right?
No, not at all.
Sometimes it's the small, seemingly insignificant experiments that lead to breakthroughs.
Absolutely. Like, remember that thing about picking up a random art supply?
Oh, yeah?
And just playing with it?
Yeah.
That can spark so much joy.
It can.
And lead to so many new ideas.
Just play. And you know what? Speaking of exploration and new ideas, the article also reminds us that inspiration can come from connecting with other creative minds.
Oh, yes. Like being part of an art community.
Yes. Online, offline, whatever.
Totally.
I know for me, like being part of an art group, it's been huge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's so inspiring to see what other artists are doing.
It pushes you, right?
It does. To try new things.
Yeah.
Push my own boundaries.
It's like having this built-in support system, you know, and this constant flow of fresh perspectives.
And let's not forget about feedback.
Oh, yes. Feedback is so important.
It can be scary to share your work. I get it.
Yeah, it can be.
But, constructive criticism,
Yeah.
especially from other artists, it can be so valuable.
It really can.
They can see things we miss.
Totally. It's like having an extra set of eyes.
Right.
But eyes that are trained to see the world through that artistic lens.
And sometimes those eyes might point out things that we need to improve on.
Yeah. It's not always easy to hear, but when it comes from the right place,
Right.
from a place of support, you know, and a desire to help us grow,
Yeah.
it can be so valuable.
It really can be. Yeah. It's all about finding that balance
Right.
between encouragement
Yeah.
and challenging each other
Yeah, yeah.
to reach our full potential.
To be our best creative selves.
Yes. And sometimes that challenge comes from within.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the article talked about setting creative goals
Yes.
and challenges?
I love those.
Those 30-day art challenges are a great example.
They are. So many artists use them.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people swear by them.
Yeah.
Because committing to creating something every single day, even if it's just a quick sketch,
It can be anything.
anything,
Yeah.
it can be a powerful way to build momentum
It is.
and overcome those creative blocks.
It's amazing how that structure can actually unlock spontaneity. It's like we give ourselves these parameters,
Yeah.
and then within those parameters, we're free to just create.
So interesting.
It's like limitations can lead to greater freedom.
It is.
It's a paradox, but it's true.
Yeah, and it's like that saying, necessity is the mother of invention.
Exactly.
When we're faced with those constraints, we have to get resourceful.
Yes.
And that's when the creativity comes out.
That's when the magic happens.
It does. But let's not forget that inspiration isn't always about actively doing something.
You're right.
Sometimes it's about stepping back, quieting the noise, and just allowing ourselves to be receptive.
Yes. And the article brings us back to mindfulness.
Oh, of course.
That crucial element.
Right. Always important.
So important. Remember we talked about taking a few moments to breathe, connect with ourselves?
Yeah.
Well, that same principle applies to inspiration.
Okay.
It's about creating space for those aha moments.
Oh, I love those moments.
They can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, walking, listening to music, even doing the dishes.
Yeah, they really can.
Inspiration often strikes when we least expect it.
It does. But we have to be open to it.
Yes. It's about cultivating that state of relaxed awareness.
Okay.
Not actively searching,
Yeah.
but not blocking it out either.
Like setting up a welcome committee for those creative ideas.
Exactly.
I love that. And sometimes those ideas come from the most unexpected sources.
Oh, they do.
Remember the article talking about everyday magic?
Yes.
Finding it in the mundane?
Yes.
That same principle can apply to finding inspiration in the most unlikely places.
It's true. Think about artists throughout history. They found inspiration in dreams, myths, literature, scientific discoveries. It's about being curious about the world
Right.
and allowing ourselves to be surprised by the unexpected.
It's like having that childlike sense of wonder,
Exactly.
seeing the world through fresh eyes.
I love that. And speaking of fresh eyes,
Yeah.
I think it's so important to expose ourselves to different perspectives.
Okay, yeah.
I know the article doesn't explicitly say that, but I think it's really important to consider.
Right.
Because when we limit ourselves to
Yeah.
just a narrow range of influences, our creativity can become stagnant.
Oh, okay.
But when we seek out different art forms, cultures, ways of thinking, it's like we open up this whole new world of inspiration.
It's like adding spices to a recipe.
Yes.
Yeah.
It totally transforms the flavor.
Yeah, like fusion cuisine, right?
Exactly. Blending those elements from different traditions to create something completely new and exciting.
We can do that with our art, too.
Absolutely. Embracing that diversity, letting those different influences cross-pollinate, inspire something truly original.
And it brings us back to that core idea. Inspiration is a journey,
Yes.
not a destination.
A process of exploration.
Experimentation, self-discovery.
It's about being open to new possibilities, embracing those challenges,
Yeah.
nurturing our creative spirits.
And you know what? We've covered so much ground in the second part of our deep dive. From the importance of mindfulness and experimentation
Yeah.
to the power of community and embracing those diverse perspectives.
And we've explored how inspiration can be found, well, literally everywhere.
Yeah, in the everyday, the unexpected, and even in ourselves.
And our exploration isn't over yet.
No, not yet. We'll be back after a short break to wrap things up.
Can't wait.
All right, we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into artistic inspiration.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling so energized after this conversation.
Me too.
Wow.
Like, I actually want to go create something right now.
Right. It's amazing what a little inspiration can do.
It is. So as we wrap things up, I'd love to hear, like, what resonated most with you from our chat today?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's that reminder that inspiration really is everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just for a select few. It's in the everyday. It's in nature. It's in our emotions. It's, it's in the connections we make.
It's in a crumpled up piece of paper.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's in those quiet moments too.
It is. It is. And it ties into that other point we talked about, being proactive.
Oh, right.
Inspiration's not just gonna magically appear.
Right.
We have to seek it out.
Yeah. Cultivate it.
Make it a part of our lives.
Like building a muscle. Right.
Yes, exactly. The more we exercise those creative muscles, the stronger they become.
And that can be anything from, observing our surroundings to immersing ourselves in art history,
Trying new techniques.
taking a moment to breathe, be present.
Absolutely. And don't forget about community.
Oh, yeah. Community.
So important, right?
Huge.
Surrounding ourselves with other creative people, it gives us support, inspiration, accountability.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders who are also your toughest critics,
Yeah.
pushing you to be better.
Absolutely. That synergy that happens when creative minds come together.
It's a beautiful thing.
It really is.
But sometimes, even with all the inspiration in the world, we can still feel stuck.
It happens.
Yeah.
It does.
And that's when it's important to remember that we have everything we need inside ourselves
we do.
to create,
Yeah.
that wellspring of creativity. It's always there,
It's always there waiting
to be tapped into.
Sometimes we just need to clear away the clutter.
Yeah.
Reconnect with that voice.
That authentic voice.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's where mindfulness comes in.
Right.
Quieting the noise, tuning into that creative energy.
Hitting the pause button on the chaos of life,
Yes.
And
And just allowing ourselves to be.
that's when the inspiration bubbles up.
It does. It's almost as if we're creating space for inspiration to find us.
Hmm.
And that's what I hope you take away from this whole deep dive.
Okay.
Inspiration is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
It's an ongoing process
of exploration, experimentation,
of discovery.
and it's a journey best traveled with a sense of curiosity, openness, and a willingness to embrace the unknown.
So I'm curious, what will you do
Yeah, what will you do?
to invite more inspiration into your life?
Good question.
Will you take a walk in nature and really observe the details?
Yeah, will you?
Will you visit a museum and let yourself be moved by art from different eras and cultures?
What about picking up a new art supply?
Just play with it.
Yeah, just to see what happens.
Or maybe join an art group, connect with other artists online.
Yeah, those are all great ideas.
Whatever path you choose,
Yeah,
remember that you are an artist.
you are an artist.
You have a unique voice waiting to be expressed.
So go out there, explore, experiment.
Create something amazing.
Yes, and keep that creative spark burning bright. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into artistic inspiration.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.